May this message lead you to a deep reflection on the processes and tools of self-transformation provided by the renowned Yogi Sadhguru. If you want to start your yoga journey with Sadhguru, click on the link in the description of this video and learn more.
So if you want to use your brain power and also physical activity, it'll work perfectly well.
If you simply observe your own digestive system, the way it is built, there are enough parameters clearly telling you that this is built for vegetarian diet. We started eating non-vegetarian diet for survival. When survival was an issue, you eat whatever is available. It is not a moral issue, it's not a religious issue, it's not a philosophical stuff. It is just a question of what kind of fuel gets the best out of a particular machine. If you have a petrol motorcycle, you can put partially diesel, it'll still go, but you think you can race it? So the question is just this, what kind of life do you want to live? Do you want to live at the peak or you somehow want to survive? If you somehow want to survive, eat whatever the hell you want, what is the problem? But if you want to live at the optimum level, you want your body and your brains to function at its best, there is a certain way to eat. If you're conscious, you will see your body will function at a different level altogether. Because food is just fuel, it's not religion. You don't have to believe it, you just have to experiment with it. If you eat vegetarian diet, you have to eat consciously. You must make sure there's substantial variety.
Nutrition just does not mean just verifiable facts. Nutrition is about that which supports your life. So in those terms, the millets have a certain power to support human body in many different ways. Millets have the highest level of protein content among all cereals, and the calcium content, iron content and many micronutrients which you will not find in regular commercial wheat and rice that largely populations are consuming today. So particularly in Karnataka, just about 40 years ago, every home had ragi diets. Ragi mudde is very popular and ragi can be made into so many things. Ragi ambali was a constant thing for children growing up, and ragi dosa, ragi roti, all these are very popular things. Just about anything that you can do with rice, you can also do with ragi, but we have fallen into one cereal trap, shifting at least 50% to millet diet. Even if you cannot go 100% because of travel and other things, even shifting 50%, you will see three things. One thing is your general health and level of energy will be way higher than what you're experiencing right now. Next thing is, you can consume much less food and still be energetic and maintain your weight levels. In terms of millets, one important thing is they are slow release, your sugar values will not go up suddenly, it's a slow release process, and with less food, you will not feel hungry for long periods of time, which is a very good thing to do. This is very easy. Those of you who tend to fast and try to balance your diet by doing fastings and intermittent fastings and things like that, you will see millet is most supportive for that kind of lifestyle. And above all, millet is closely connected to the land in which you live. It is a natural aspect of the land, and that is the best thing to consume, because the land, the soil and your body are not three different things, they are one and the same. Will we get this now? Or will we get this only when we are buried? This is the only question. So millets should be brought into our lives. Every responsible citizen should do this for the well-being of their own health and well-being, and for the well-being of the country and the world and the ecological diversity of the planet. And especially if you have growing children, millet is a must in your home. One great advantage with green is it gives you iron and it gives you a lot of fiber, which makes the passage of food easy in the system. The protoplasm in the
leaf, which is what gives it the green color, you can never digest that if you eat it raw. If you cook it, you can digest it partially. Certain aspects of the green leaf you can absorb, rest of it just goes waste. But it serves another purpose, that is, the fiber is one thing. And if sufficient green leaf is eaten, even uncooked green leaf, if it's eaten, it works like a brush. It takes away the mucus in your digestive tract. You have seen, if you have dogs or cats at home, once in a way they will eat grass. That is not their diet. But they eat this so that mucus is cleaned up. They are all conscious enough to know when their system is loaded with mucus. Human beings, too much mucus here, so they're not able to notice it. Otherwise, you're supposed to notice it. One of the most important aspects of eating the green is it ensures that unnecessary impurities don't remain in the body. So it needs at least 24 hours or at least 18 to 20 hours before it can work like that. So if you eat greens, you must eat early in the day so that next day it works as a good laxative and it clears up everything. So if you eat it in the night, you don't benefit from that. You must eat it early in the day.
So, you know very well, the most easily digestible food is fruit. Digestion means the Jఠραγνη, the digestive fires as they are known. If these fires have to burn most effectively, fruit is definitely the best thing. So fruit can do miraculous things to the body. Sufficient consumption of fruit can do great things to the system. One can become very, very alive and active, no matter what is your lifestyle. But if you're doing very menial kind of job, let's say you're digging outside every day physically, not with a machine, but you're physically digging and doing very hard work, then you may find every 2 hours you get hungry because of the fruit. Because there is only that much volume you can eat, but it gets digested so rapidly that you may feel empty stomach. Till you come to a certain level of awareness where you are able to be empty stomach and still be energetic, because hunger is about running out of energy. It's like you're running out of battery, that's why you need to eat. But today, a lot of people, or most people I would say, when they feel little empty in the stomach, they feel like eating. To get out of this, you need a little bit of awareness that you're empty stomach, but still you're okay, because you're energetic. When your energy starts dipping, you eat. So if you go on a total fruit diet, you may have to either spend a little more time on the lunchtime and eat slowly so that you ingest enough fruit. Because with little fruit you will feel full because it's generally sweet. So one has to wait and slowly eat. There is also a bio clock within us that, let us say, your normal meal, cooked meal, you're taking 10-12 minutes to eat. Even if you eat fruit, by the time you reach 10-12 minutes, your body says you've eaten enough. So you have to consciously eat more, because it is timing you, it is not looking at the fill, it's just timing you. When those 10-12 minutes are gone, you feel you're full. So one has to go beyond that and consume enough. But if you're only on fruit diet and physically very active, it is important that maybe you bring 3 meals into your day, and most of you may already be doing it. So, 3 times a day, if you're sleeping 6 hours
or 8 hours or whatever, for the remaining hours, 16 to 18 hours, 3 times eating is more than enough if you're eating fruit. But stomach will feel empty within 2 hours' time. So you must get used to hanging on with high energy but empty stomach. This is the time your brain works best, this is the time as a human being you function best, it'll be good for you. So if you want to use your brain power and also physical activity, it'll work perfectly well. Yes, fruit will make a wonderful difference, especially in today's world, it's very important because we value a human being in the work areas, I'm saying. We value a human being for their brain power, so for this, fruit will make a huge difference for sure. And ecologically, it's the most sensible thing to do.
All these things can be quelled from within if only we are willing to pay a certain level of attention to the innermost dimension of who we are. These things can be altered just by bringing about a certain balance in the system, activating a certain level of inner energy. The inner engineering process is just about this, that you find access to this deepest dimension of intelligence and competence within ourselves, which is capable of generating this body, creating this body from what kind of material? If you eat a piece of bread, it turns into human system in a few hours' time. So there is that dimension of intelligence and competence within this. If only you found access to that. Health is not even something that you have to struggle with. You know what this is? This is called a Rudraksh, okay? Rudraksh as a seed, this tree mainly grows at certain altitude. Somewhere between 6,500 to 12,000 altitude is where Rudraksh grows in the Himalayan region. And it has very unique vibrations. It brings down the blood pressure in your system, your nerves will be calm. There are various types of Rudraksh, from a single-faced Rudraksh to 21 faces. These are for specific purposes. For people who are in family and social situations, the best thing to wear is always the 5-faced Rudraksh. These are called Panchamukhis. A 5-faced Rudraksh, if you see, there'll be grooves, you can count the faces. 5-faced Rudraksh is the best one. Even without doing any activity, you can still manifest what you want if you organize these 4 dimensions in one direction and keep it unwavering in that direction for a certain period of time. Right now the problem with your mind is, every moment it is changing its direction. It is like you want to travel somewhere and every 2 steps if you keep changing your direction, the question of you reaching the destination is very remote unless it happens by chance. So, organizing our minds and in turn organizing the whole system and these 4 basic dimensions of who you are right now in one direction, if you do this, you are a Kalpavruksha yourself. Anything that you wish will happen. But right now, if you look at your lives, everything that you have wished for till now, if it happens, you have finished. Everything and everybody that you have desired for, if all of that lands up in your house today, could you live with that? Once we're empowered like this, it's very important that our physical action, emotional action, mental action and energy actions are controlled and properly directed. If it is not so, we become destructive, self-destructive. Right now, that is our problem. The technology, which is supposed to make our life beautiful and easy, has become the source of all the problem that we are destroying the very basis of our life, which is the planet. So what should have been a boon, we are making a curse out of it. What has brought incredible levels of comfort and convenience to us in the last 100 years or so has also become a threat to our life simply because we are not conscious action, we are in a compulsive state of action. So organizing our minds fundamentally means moving from a compulsive state of activity to a conscious state of activity. You might have heard of people for whom they ask for something and beyond all expectations it came true for them. Generally this happens to people who are in faith. Now, let's say you want to build a house. If you start thinking, oh, I want to build a house, to build a house I need 50 lakhs, but I have only 50 rupees in my pocket, not possible, not possible, not possible. The moment you say not possible, you are also saying, I don't want it. So on one level, you're creating a desire that you want something, on another level, you're saying, I don't want it. So in this conflict, it may not happen. Someone who has some faith in a god or in a temple or whatever, who is simple-minded. Faith works only for those people who are simple-minded. Thinking people, people who are too much thinking, for them it never works. A childlike person who has a simple faith in his god or his temple or whatever, he goes to the temple and says, Shiva, I want a house. I don't know how, you must make it for me. Now in his mind there are no negative thoughts. Will it happen? Will it not happen? Is it possible? Is it not possible? These things are completely removed by this simple act of faith. Now he believes Shiva will do it for him and it will happen. So is Shiva going to come and build your house? No, I want you to understand, God will not lift his little finger for you. What you refer to as God is the source of creation. As a creator, he has done a phenomenal job, there's no question about it. Could you think of a better creation than this? Is it in anybody's imagination to think anything better than what is there right now? So as a creator, he has done his job wonderfully well. But if you want life to happen the way you want it, because right now, the very crux of your happiness and your well-being is this, if at all if you're unhappy, the only and only reason why you're unhappy is life is not happening the way you think it should happen. That's all it is. So if life is not happening the way you think it should happen, you're unhappy. If life happens the way you think it should happen, you are happy. It's as simple as that. So if life has to happen the way you think it should happen, first of all, how you think, with how much focus you think, how much stability is there in your thought, and how much reverberance is there in the thought process will determine whether your thought will become a reality or is it just an empty thought. Or how you do not create any impediments for your thought by creating negative thought process. This possible is something possible or not possible, is destroying humanity. What is possible and not possible is not your business, it's nature's business. Your business is just to strive for what you want. Right now you're sitting here, if I ask you two simple questions, I want you to just look at this and answer this. Right now from where you're sitting, can you just fly off? You say no. Right now from where you're sitting, can you get up and walk? You'll say yes. What is the basis of this? Why you say no to flying and yes to walking? Because past experience of life, many times you've gotten up and walked, never did you fly off. Or in other words, you're using the past experience of life as a basis for deciding whether something is possible or not possible. Or in other words, you have decided that what has not happened till now cannot happen in your life in future. This is a disgrace to humanity and the human spirit. What has not happened till now on this planet can happen tomorrow. Human beings are capable of making it happen tomorrow. So what is possible and what is not possible is not your business. That is nature's business. Nature will decide that. You just see what is it that you really want and strive for that. And if your thought is created in a powerful way, without any negativity, without any negative thoughts bringing down the intensity of the thought process, the first and foremost thing is you must be clear what is it that you really want. If you do not know what you want, the question of creating it doesn't arise. If you look at what you really want, what every human being wants is, he wants to live joyfully, he wants to live peacefully. In terms of his relationships, he wants you to be loving and affectionate. Or in other words, all that any human being is seeking for is pleasantness within himself, pleasantness around him. This pleasantness, if it happens in our body, we call this health and pleasure. If it happens in our mind, we call this peace and joy. If it happens in our emotion, we call this love and compassion. If it happens in our energy, we call this blissfulness and ecstasy. This is all that a human being is looking for. Whether he is going to his office to work, he wants to make money, build a career, build a family, he sits in the bar, sits in the temple, he is still looking for the same thing. Pleasantness within, pleasantness around. If this is what we want to create, I think it's time we addressed it directly and commit ourselves to creating it. So you want to create yourself.
In United States of America, there is a segment of people who believe that next time when Jesus comes, he will come in United States. Generally, it's believed he will come in Mount Olive in Jerusalem, but now US people are saying, why will he go to Israel? That's not a good place to go. He will come in United States. So they asked me a question like this in a large gathering, Sadhguru, what do you think? Jesus will come in United States or in Jerusalem? I said, see, last time he came in Jerusalem and he said, come follow me. Only 12 people. Today you're celebrating him as a great being, but only 12 people followed him. In that, one of them freaked on him, all right? But if he comes to United States today, if he says, come follow me, you have a bank loan, student loan, car loan, house loan, holiday home loan, you are mortgaged for 45 years. If Jesus says, come follow me, nobody will be there because everybody has to go to the bank. So you have entangled yourself in such a way, even if the most significant things happen, you can't change the direction of your life. Hello? If the greatest things came your way, you cannot change the direction of your life. This is a slave's life, isn't it? What is slavery? He cannot choose. That is slavery, isn't it? Now, you are making that kind of arrangements in your life, you cannot choose, you're stuck in your own arrangements. A spider weaves a web for other things to be caught. But if you're that kind of a spider, you build a web in which you are caught, you're a stupid spider, isn't it? And most human beings are in that condition. If something significant happens here, you are going this way. If something really significant happened this way, you can go this way. Your arrangements will not trap you. This is an intelligent life. If you are smart enough, you will make arrangements that support you, not arrangements that entangle you, isn't it?
Jesus is not a good man. Maybe he's wonderful, but not a good man. If you don't let that man rise within you, then you will remain good and dead. That part of you which has been kept dead for too long, it's time to raise it. Whatever we are referring to as Jesus is not about some man 2000 years ago. It's about a certain possibility within every human being. So that has to rise. It's not that there is no Jesus in you, it's just you kept him hung, impotent. He needs little empowerment. He needs to be raised. So the whole effort is that part of you which we can call Jesus or Shiva or whatever you like, to allow that to rise. Can you say Shiva is a good man? No, but he's fantastic. Even Jesus, not a good man. Wonderful, not a good man. Anybody who disturbs the existing situation is not a good man, isn't it? Yes or no? In any given situation, someone who disturbs your family situation, somebody who disturbs your social situation or political situation, national or international situation, is not a good man in that society, isn't it so? So Jesus is not a good man. Maybe he's wonderful, but not a good man. Shiva definitely not a good man, but fantastic he is. If you don't let that man rise within you, if you do not let that aspect rise within you, then you will remain good and dead. Dead is good. Dead is always good. Yes or no? Once it happened, a 5-year-old boy and his mother went to the cemetery. He had never seen a cemetery in his life, this is the first time. The mother was dedicated to one particular grave, she sat down. The boy went about everywhere, reading all the inscriptions on the tombstones. He went through the whole cemetery, read everything and came back to his mother and asked his mother, "Mom, where do they bury all the horrible people?" Every tombstone says this was the most wonderful man. Dead is always good, isn't it? Dead is good, living is trouble. Because living is trouble, we reduce the living to half dead. 50% life is safe. That's where most people have settled. We must decide, dead or alive. Half dead is not good, isn't it? Once 𝘺𝙀𝗵𝗃 was arrested for mixing horse meat in chicken cutlets and selling. So when he went to the court, there was nothing else to do, so he pleaded guilty. And they asked, "How much horse meat and chicken meat, how did you do?" He said, 50-50 I did. So he got some fine and some kind of thing and then he came out. His friend asked him, "What did you mean by saying 50-50? He said, "1 horse, 1 chicken." That's 50-50. So, this mixture won't work. You have to raise the dead. You really have to raise the dead. That part of you which has been kept dead for too long, it's time to raise it.
And they have no problem, they'll never fight about it because it's a land of seeking. So, first mistake you make is you believe what I say. I am constantly reminding you, don't believe a goddamn thing that anybody says. But don't be foolish enough to disbelieve it either. All you have to do is experiment with it. Does it work or doesn't work? If it works, you keep it, otherwise rubbish it, what's the problem? Now, about somebody being hungry, somebody being homeless, somebody being in a war zones, all kinds of horrible things are happening on the planet. I am not ignorant of it. Anyway, you said living in a temple. I am not living in a temple. I am more of the world than you are. Every day, I want you to understand, I am running a volunteer organization with over 4,000 full-time volunteers and over 3 million part-time volunteers doing variety of work, huge projects, over a dozen businesses and the spiritual movement, okay? Now, I want you to understand, more things are going wrong with my life on a daily basis than anybody's life. Now, when a man is hungry, if you try to tell him, your intellect is the source of your problem, it's obscene. It's obscene, it's nothing short of that. I never spoke to hungry people and said, your intellect is the source of the problem. I'm talking to people who are bulging in so many ways. In their head and in their body, they're bulging. I'm only talking to that segment of the population. Those who are not fed well, I'm doing social projects with them with nourishment, education, health, all for free. Will I ever go and talk to a starved man in an Indian village and tell him, your intellect is the basis of all your problems?
What makes you think that I'm that stupid? Do I look like that? So you also don't do that. This is for you. You need to understand this. There are a million problems on the planet. All these million problems are essentially because those who are reasonably well have never cared to reach out and do what needs to be done in the world. In many ways, they're making sure those people don't get it. Yes. In the year 2012, we have produced enough food for 18.2 billion people. We had only 6.6 billion people in that year. But still, 50% of the population is malnourished and hardly eaten anything. This is not because there is no food, this is because you and me have not cared, isn't it? So, is it true? Is it true nobody stabbed you in the last 25 years? Yes. But is it also true you're suffering various things of tension, stress, anxiety, this, that? Is it a product of your mind or somebody else poking you from outside? It is your reaction to the existential situation outside. Instead of doing what is needed, what you see is when you see something wrong happening or when you see some suffering or something comes your way, you decide to poke yourself. This is about incapacitating yourself. Instead of seeing when there is a problem, you need empowerment, not incapacitating yourself, isn't it? I'm talking about empowering you so that your damn intelligence functions for you, not against you. The moment your intelligence is working against you, no God in the universe is going to help you and can help you. Yes, if your intelligence has turned against you, you are a finished case. So I'm saying, first let your intelligence work for you. If it works for you, there are many miraculous things that you can do for all those people who have still not eaten properly, for whom basic things have not been taken care of.
I think a sabbatical is good. You may come up with something that you've not thought possible.
I will convey your message, Sadhguru. I'm sure he's watching this program. Sadhguru, I believe that talent is something which is grossly exaggerated in success. When I was in medical school, I used to teach martial art. That was my passion. And every time a Bruce Lee's movie was released, all these school kids would come and join in hordes to martial arts schools. We used to call it Bruce Lee phenomenon.
They're gone after 2 weeks.
Yes. And I used to see some kids whose physique is meant for martial art, who have the natural flair, and I used to think, oh, this kid is going to get a black belt. And interestingly, Swamiji, after 6 months, they're never there. The guys who go up to the black belt and, do something very good in martial art are the ones who joined the school without any skills, without any talent, who worked very, very hard. For everything they had to sweat it out. But in the end, they're the ones who succeed. How do you explain this phenomena?
See, for a variety of reasons, let me not go beyond this. For a variety of reasons, a certain individual could be born with a certain flair, physical flair, mental flair, emotional flair, style. 5-year-old child, one has style, other is clumsy, okay? So the one with the style is not going to become necessarily a fashion thing. Somebody else who seems to be clumsy may grow into something else. Like, you don't know when a woman is pregnant, the child within that womb, whether it's a sage or a sorcerer. Nor the woman know. No, the mother does not know whether she is producing a sage or a sorcerer or what. This is because I use the word coherence because of modern science is using that word. Who you are here right now, as you sit here, this is physics. Every subatomic particle is in constant contact with everything. What you call as cosmos is living life and it's a live mind. You have captured only one small part of it. If you work with only that one small part of what you have captured, both as life and as intelligence, you will function at a certain level. If you apply yourself to break the barriers of your limitations that you've set for yourself, then there is an intelligence beyond anybody's understanding, beyond anybody's estimate, which is available to you. Once this is available to you, people think you're superhuman. No, this is not about being superhuman. This is about realizing that being human is super. The immensity of being human has not been realized. So we are always making a kind of a mathematical calculation. Okay, if this person has this much IQ, maybe this is what he will become. This is what Newton's law, that everything that moves on this planet works to a mathematical precision or a geometric precision. That is, if you take a pendulum, the length of the pendulum will decide how it will swing. If you take a projectile, depending upon its mass, velocity and the trajectory, it will go to a certain place. That is not how the cosmos is working, because what you think is physical and not physical is all mixed up within this human being. The physical self, the psychological self, the emotional self, and who you call as myself, the life within you, the fundamental life process, these are all different dimensions. And the innermost core of who you are, which, because all the other words are corrupted, I'll use the word life or just you, what you call as me. This, if you allow it, if you do not identify it with any form, with your physical form or with other different identities what you take on, it has a way of being cohesive or collaborative with everything around. When we say somebody worked hard, all he is trying to do is stretch his boundary of identity, isn't it? He's trying to stretch his boundary. If he succeeds to stretch his boundary, something that was he never thought possible or imagined that is within his competence or capability becomes his. Miraculously, I can show you hundreds of people who come to me, we prepare them for a certain period and then we initiate them. In 24 hours, you will see the shape of their face will change. Genetics are altered in 24 hours' time. You can see the photographic images, they have actually changed dramatically overnight simply because of a certain extension of their identity. So, in the Indian spiritual milieu, so when you say spiritual, we must understand this. This is not about looking up or looking down. When we say spiritual, we are talking about transcending the limitations of physical. So right now, the physical is here as if it's a solid entity in people's experience. But modern physics is telling you and medical science is beginning to tell you, or if people don't understand, if they just hold their nose for 2 minutes, they understand that they are not an independent existence. It is in transaction, not just in terms of breath. Even on the level of subatomic particles, it's in constant transaction. If this transaction becomes even minutely conscious, suddenly you have immense capabilities that you never thought were possible. Biological identity is the most limiting identity that you have because it limits to the area of your body. Now when you strive, you break this. It doesn't matter in what way you strive. Most people strive in unconscious, unscientific, simply out of striving, they do things. But there are ways to strive scientifically in a proper way. There are tools to strive with specific direction to break the limitations of who we are. If you break this boundary, the subatomic particles are transacting, the intelligence is transacting, only you're missing the whole game. If you don't miss the game, if you are in the game of life, not in the game of thoughts and emotions, you're in the game of life, suddenly just about anything you want you can do, not this or that. I'm saying anything a human being can do, simply if he breaks his barriers. And these barriers are many levels. but the most fundamental thing is the identity.
But otherwise, in every cell in the body, there is air. So when you say air, it's not just the breath. 6% air is in every cell in the body. Just remove it a little bit from the brain, it'll be good. It's good if it's in the lungs, in the heart and the muscles. They function better if there is oxygen, you know? Do you know this? If you're oxygen deprived, muscles become rigid because this needs air, otherwise it'll not work. So, water is 72%. So maximum care should be taken about the water because it's 72%. If you are going to an examination, suppose it is like this, let's say you're going for physics examination. You have water, earth, this, that, but just the water subject is for 72 marks. Naturally you spend more time reading about water, isn't it? Studying water, yes or no? Air is only 6%, you may not study because you are okay with 94. Water you must study because it's 72%. You must take enormous care about the water because it's 72% and it has tremendous memory. If I open this water, or even without opening, if I say something to this water, it remembers. There has been lot of experiments in this direction. So, if you take this water from wherever the waterworks is and pump it to your house, let's say it went through 50 bends, pumped forcefully with a certain force, which naturally is done, and you're living on 12th floor of the apartment, so further forced up. Now they're saying, if it goes through 50 bends, about 60% of the water has turned poisonous. Immediately when it comes in the tap, if you take it and immediately drink it, it will work as poison in your system. If you take it and hold it for some time, it will undo itself again. Because the poisoning is not chemical, it is molecular. Molecular changes are happening, no chemical change is happening. This is why traditionally your grandmother always told you, always you must gather the water, keep it overnight in your house in a properly cleaned vessel with vibhuti and kumkum on it and one flower on it. Yes or no? In traditional homes, only tomorrow morning you drink it. Not as soon as it comes inside your house, you don't drink it because it carries all kinds of memories. In very traditional homes, people every day do puja to the water pot. Yes? And you never drink the water as soon as it comes. You keep it, give it enough time to undo itself from whatever nonsense it has gathered so that it is suitable for you when you drink it. Water you must take care because it's 72%. It's first class, you know, more than passing mark. Next thing is food, because that's the earth. 12%, still substantial, isn't it? So how food goes into you, from whose hands it comes to you, how you eat it, how you approach it, all these things are important. Then comes your air, 6%. In that 6%, only 1% or less is your breath. Rest is happening in so many other ways. And it's important, especially if you have children, at least once a month, take them out somewhere, not to the damn cinema, again breathing everybody's nonsense. The air gets affected just by the sounds. And the intentions and the emotions, all the rubbish that's happening on the screen and all the rubbish that's reflecting in human minds of violence, of sex, of greed, of this and that, is affecting that limited air in that hall in a tremendous way. So instead of taking them to the cinema, take them to the river, teach them how to swim, climb a mountain. Where is mountain, Sadhguru? Himalayas is so far away. Even a small hill is a mountain for your boy. Yes? Even a little rock, just go climb and sit on one of them. Children will enjoy it immensely, they will become fit, you will become fit. And above all, your body and mind will function differently. And above all, you are in touch with the Creator's creation, which is the most important thing. Not your own rubbish that you made. Yes, it's comfortable right now, but it's not everything. So instead of going to the restaurant, instead of going to the cinema, instead of going somewhere else like that, at least once a month, it doesn't cost anything. Huh? Doesn't cost anything. You can take your rice and 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 and go and eat there. Anyway you have it. You don't have to spend money on this. Even better, if you don't want to spend money even on the bus or car, all of you cycle. Just 3 kilometers, 5 kilometers outside Hyderabad, sit on one rock, just spend time there, feel the sun. It's very important you get some sun, air, good water. Come back, you are doing bhuta shuddhi in a very natural way. It is not the ultimate type of bhuta shuddhi, but you are doing some bhuta shuddhi. This is what I was saying just now. If you take care of food, water, air is not always in your hands because you're living in a city. But water and food you can take care. And what kind of fire burns within you, that also you can take care. Sunlight has not become impure, isn't it? Get some sunlight every day, please. Get some sun on your body every day because sunlight is still pure, isn't it? Nobody can fortunately contaminate it. And what kind of fire burns within you? Is it the fire of greed, fire of hatred, fire of resentment, fire of anger, fire of love, fire of compassion? What kind of fire burns within you? You take care of that, then you don't worry about your physical and mental well-being, it's taken care of.
This is a release of prarabdha. This could have some meaning. In the sense, if you don't have to observe the images of the dream, you have to observe the residue of the dream. Depending upon how the dream has worked out, is it just working out of your latent desires, or is some other memory playing a role in making this happen? You don't go about looking at the imagery. Imagery is not important, but the residue it leaves on the body. When you wake up in the morning, how do you feel? If you… see, this is the reason why those who closely watching their life avoid all intoxicants and stimulants. If you're pumping in intoxicants and stimulants, you cannot notice anything. Every day early morning feels like hell anyway. They have to work themselves out of it. So once you play with the nervous system, all this is jumbled up, this is not even relevant for such people. Once there are intoxicants and stimulants, it just won't work because your nervous system starts saying something else, which is of a completely different nature. The prarabdha, the second type of dream that we talked about, could indicate many things if one is able to watch it. Especially if something is concerned with your health or the possibility of destruction or damage to your body, prarabdha is a good place to watch. I never ever talk about dreams because there are a whole bunch of people
who will go crazy imagining all kinds of things on a daily basis. I saw this in my dream, so this is going to happen today, tomorrow that's going to happen. Their imagination will run wild. Dreams will not happen in the night, throughout the day it'll start happening. So the third layer of dream is if you touch certain states of experience in your life, we could actually do a survey on this. Many of you might have found after you went through a powerful experience, let's say you were initiated into Shambhavi, or you went through a Bhava Spandana, or you went through a Samyama program, or you went through some other initiation process, the dream patterns seem to have changed after that. The type of dreams that you're getting has changed, the volume of dreams could have changed, it could have become more or less or something else. Some change could have happened after a powerful experience. What is the meaning of a powerful experience? A powerful experience means somehow you cross some kind of threshold within you. There are layers and layers of boundaries that one has set up within himself. On a particular day you broke through one, or you crossed one layer of something, so the pattern of dream could change. So what was not in play, that memory bank which was not in play, has begun to come into play, new release. I don't know if you understand. In India, every Friday they say new release, that means a new cinema is coming. So this is a new release. These can of worms were never there, suddenly new release. Because a powerful experience happened and broke through a certain barrier of memory. These barriers are your protection, because if all of it opens up at once, no mind can handle it, it'll just break. So this is called… this storehouse of memory or storehouse of karmic substance is called sanchita. This means this is a warehouse of memory. If all of it comes, nobody will be able to handle. So, something from that entered your life. That means this life has become a larger scope than what it was before. Your life was playing out to a certain volume of memory. Now if you break through with a big experience, it has become a larger scope. Larger scope means if you handle it efficiently, larger scope is a great thing. If you handle it inefficiently, larger scope is lot of trouble. And in fact, that is all human beings are struggling with, that human life has a larger scope than other creatures. That is the problem, isn't it? If you were like any other creature, you could eat and sleep and be fine. Because it has a larger scope, that is the trouble that they're suffering. So, when a larger scope opens up, then if you handle it right, it'll be very wonderful. If you don't, it'll be painful. But even if it's painful, in the ultimate scheme of things, it's still good for you. You don't like that. Now, Hatha yoga is painful, isn't it? Yoga is painful, come on, let's admit it. It is painful, but we still do it because in the larger scheme of things, it's good for us. In some way we understand that, that's why we're doing it, isn't it? So, opening up of new areas of memory within you can be very painful. Because now you're putting your life on a fast forward. What should have been handled probably in a next edition you're trying to handle it in this edition because you're in a little bit of a rush. You don't want to have one more edition. You want to say everything you want to say in this edition. Now it becomes more complex, isn't it? But if you handle it right, it is very good. Otherwise, it suddenly feels like after entering the spiritual path, everything in the whole universe seems to be kicking you up from every direction. Because that's how it is. Because you opened up another dimension which you are not handling. I don't know how it is where you come from, but in India, there is something called as 10th standard, which is a board exam. Okay. Not much stuff in this class, very minimal, but still this is a… this is a place where children are terrified usually, because the examiners are not their own teachers, somebody else is going to correct their paper. So, it all depends how you've been passing till then. Most of them are terrified and anti-diarrheal tablets will sell in millions on that day when the examination comes and all kinds of stuff. This is only a kind of a preparing the child, kind of a rehearse for really graduation for the high school, which comes at 12th standard. If you pass 10th standard, which is supposed to be one milestone in the education process, you don't get into a better place. Suddenly 11th and 12th is in a different dimension of study. Till then it was just this. Suddenly 11th and 12th is completely… everything is multiplying at least 4 times over in terms of syllabi and complexity and everything that you require to study. So passing is not always a good thing. But if you don't pass, you don't go to the next step. If you remain in the same step, you will suffer stagnation. If you move to the next step, you suffer a larger challenge that is bound to be there. So this is just like that. If you remain in the same place, life seems to be comfortable. If you move to the next step, it is definitely next step, but it is a much larger challenge to handle. So in terms of dreams, it finds expression in a completely different way. Once sanchita begins to find expression in your dream, it will become completely, absolutely meaningless dreams. One spot here, one spot there, one this, one that, nothing will be continuous. It will start happening wild dreams without any meaning. You cannot ascribe any kind of meaning to it. This happened.
Visionary Women is a volunteer-run organization, and I know that every single person who is here is giving their time to one organization or another. And the fact that you have 9 million volunteers, and you were talking about the relationship between volunteerism and willingness, and that it's through willingness that you uplift your consciousness, if I'm quoting you correctly, or I'm understanding it. In some ways talking about how it could be a doorway to becoming a bigger person than who you are.
See, before we come to women, first thing is visionary. What a vision means is, say everybody has desires. Desire is an incremental way of enhancing our life. Today you desire, I must have a home, tomorrow you desire, I must have this money, tomorrow you desire something else. These are incremental ways of arranging and rearranging our lives, which are needed to do a few things. When you say, I'm a visionary, what you're saying is, I have a larger desire, which is not about just incremental improvement of my life. Desire is about me always. Vision is an all-inclusive process. So, this itself is a phenomenal thing. If people, instead of having desires, if they have a vision, vision is always all-inclusive. Desire is personal.
Desire leads to incremental changes and improvements. Vision can transform the whole situation. I like music. So, about willingness, because you said you're a volunteer organization, to be a volunteer. A volunteer means somebody who is doing something willingly, right? There's no other compulsion. There are no financial compulsions, there are no social compulsions, there is no something else. You want to do something willingly. So when you're a willing participant, right now, you're a volunteer. I'm asking all of you, right now, are you compelled to be here or are you here voluntarily? Oh, thank you. Because I've spoken to conscripted people also, I've spoken in the prisons, I've spoken in many places. So you're here willingly. You're doing something willingly is the fundamental of your joy, isn't it so? Hello? However simple or stupid or idiotic activity it is, I'm doing something willingly, makes a world of difference, isn't it so? Hello? Yes. The difference between heaven and hell is just this. You're doing something willingly, that's your heaven. You're doing something unwillingly, that's your hell. We have already taken on attitudes, what we like and what we don't like. I like this person, I don't like this person. Now with this person I will do things willingly, with this person I'll do things unwillingly. This may be two people, two aspects of life, two communities, two nations, two many things. This I will do willingly, this I do unwillingly. This means I've decided in my mind, this is good, this is bad. When I hear even on national news channels, good guys and bad guys, it just… once you have this kind of thing, you are going to be disastrous to the planet, it's just a question of time. The moment you decide, this is a good person, this is a bad person, this has gone deep into American society. No, there are no good people and bad people. Everybody is oscillating between the two. If you create a very pleasant, wonderful atmosphere, everybody behaves wonderfully. If you create an unpleasant atmosphere, a whole lot of people act nasty. Yes or no? There are joyful people and miserable people, but there are no good people and bad people.
That's big.
The moment we think we are good, we are entitled to destroy the bad, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, we've been destroying a lot of people for a long time. Time to stop that. Because human beings are in different levels of experience and understanding, variety of people. Anybody who is not like you is obviously bad, isn't it? Isn't it so? Those who are not like me must be bad people. Because the basis of goodness and what you think is goodness is decided by you. No, you have no business to do that. Willing means this, I'm just willing. I'm 100% yes to life. I am not yes to this one, no to this one, no. I am just yes and yes to life. If you are 100% yes to life, you are a volunteer.
Oh, that's beautiful.
You have become a willing life. You have become so willing that you have no will of your own. People ask me, Sadhguru, how do you operate with all these people? All kinds of horrible questions they're asking, they're doing this, they're doing that. I said, my life is not about them, it's about me. It's about how I am. It's about me. It doesn't matter how they are, that's their choice. But how I am is my choice, this is my way. No matter what they do, I'm like this. Because I have not given that freedom to anybody that somebody can freak me, somebody can make me angry, somebody can make me happy, somebody can make me unhappy. These privileges I kept to myself. It's time you do that too. Because if somebody else can decide
what can happen within you right now. Isn't this the ultimate slavery? Huh? Isn't this? Someone else can decide what should happen within you. What happens around you, of course, so many people decide. What happens around us is not 100% ours. But what happens within me must be my making, isn't it? Right now, just about anybody can freak anybody because they're not volunteers, they're unwilling. Volunteering means you have no will of your own, you can do whatever is needed. You know, we are a volunteer organization, this means all kinds of people. Most of them are not qualified for the jobs that they're doing. And I cannot fire them because they're volunteers. So people keep coming up to me on a daily basis and say, Sadhguru, I can't work with this person, she's so horrible, I can't do it. I tell them, see, in this world, this is the sort of people who exist, like this, like this, like this, like this is the kind of people there are. But if you want to work with ideal people, you must go to heaven. And today.
Today.
But if you think what you're doing is very significant, you must learn to work with all these horrible people. This is how the world is. If you think what you're doing is very significant, you learn to work with all kinds of people. You will see horrible people will do wonderful things. Yes?
Yes, yes.
But if you want to work with ideal people, you won't find any. I haven't found one yet. All kinds of mixed bags.
Yes.
But if you are willing that you are not yes and no, yes to one, no to another, you're simply one big yes, you will find a way.
Thank you so much. That I always say that it's the resistance to life.
Many problems that human beings are suffering is simply because we have lost that awareness as to how to be in sync with the many forces. If you become in rhythm with life, you will also wake up somewhere after 3 a.m.
At that time, if you sit up and do whatever process you have been initiated for, it will bear maximum fruit.
In the way the planet is spinning and what is happening, something very fundamental changes somewhere between 3:20 to 3:40. This is called Brahma Muhurtam.
This is relevant only up to 33 degrees latitude. Your system, human system, functions in a certain way. It is a possibility. So, there has been an awareness about making use of this possibility.
Your life is a product of many things that we call as the universe, many things that we call as existence. So we are a consequence of a certain phenomenal happening that we call as cosmos. We are not an individual existence. So when you get in sync, certain things will happen. You know, there's a Sikharias in where we are in Tennessee, the US ashram, they wake up once in 17 years. Can you beat it? They know it is 17 years and they come awake and they breathe and they go back to sleep. They're keeping time once in 17 years, no alarm bell anywhere. Well, how is this? I'm saying they're in sync with nature. We have lost sync within nature and we think that is our nature. No. All the many ailments, many problems that human beings are suffering is simply because we have lost that awareness as to how to be in sync with the many forces which are making us who we are. So yoga is to bring that sync so that you are in rhythm with life.
If you become in rhythm with life, you will also wake up somewhere just after 3 a.m. If you're conscious, suddenly a certain spark of aliveness will happen within you. Even if you're in deep sleep, you will come awake. This must happen to you. This means you're falling in sync with it. You're falling in sync with life.
So what should I do? Should I meditate? Should I do a kriya? Doesn't matter what. You must do a process for which you have been initiated for. Because initiation means…
Just do this one simple exercise. If you do this, you will live a worthwhile life, believe me.
If you sleep in that condition, you will wake up with much more light, with much more energy. Generally, in India, they told you, you should not put your head to the north and sleep. You're aware of this? If you put your head to the north and sleep during the night when you're in horizontal positions, then slowly the blood will get pulled towards your brain. When there is too much circulation in the brain, you cannot sleep peacefully. If you have any kind of, inherently weak aspects in your brain, or if you're of old age, you could die in your sleep. One can have hemorrhage because extra blood is trying to enter the brain where the blood vessels are hair-like. Something extra is being pushed because of the magnetic pull. When you're in a vertical position, this is not so. The moment you become horizontal, this pull on the head is so strong that slowly the blood tries to move towards the brain. So to avoid this is true only in the northern hemisphere. If you go to Australia, you should not put your head to the south. If you're in India, you should not put your head to the north. You can put it any other way, it's okay. You were not just taught a practice, it was introduced into your system. It was implanted in your system. So whatever, if there is a life seed within you, if you're awake at Brahma Muhurtam and sit for whatever that practice is, it bears maximum fruit because of the way the planet is behaving in relation to your system. If you become aware in a certain way, a certain level of awareness is achieved within you, you will see, you will simply know when that time is. If you go to bed at the right time, you don't have to look at your watch. You will always know when it is 3:40, because the body will behave in a different way. At that time, if you sit up and do whatever process you have been initiated for, not what you picked up from a book, it will bear maximum fruit. The seed will get the necessary support at that time for it to sprout or spurt up more rapidly than at other times. This is only for the initiated. If you are not initiated, you're a book yogi, then 3:40, 6:40, 7:40, not so much of a difference. Sandhya kalas are more important for such people. Sandhya means 20 minutes before sunrise, 20 minutes after sunrise, or 20 minutes before sunset and 20 minutes after sunset. The same goes for noon and midnight, but they're of a different nature. So these two twilights are better for the uninitiated. 3:40 is good for those who've been powerfully initiated. You can incubate a lot of either negative things or positive things in sleep. This is getting too easy. Just sleeping sadhana.
So coming awake to an alarm bell with a sudden start is not the best way to do your life.
How many of you find that one day morning when you get up without any reason, you're just feeling ugly for no reason? If it is happening even at least 2-3 times a year, if it is, then you must do certain things before you go to bed. It's very important. Because unconsciously, you need to understand this, you can incubate a lot of either negative things or positive things in sleep. Either pleasantness or unpleasantness, you can incubate very effectively, uninterrupted in sleep. You can also incubate it in the day, but there are so many interruptions, it doesn't happen very efficiently. But if you have a tendency to go to bed in a certain way and you wake up in the morning really nasty for simply no reason, that means you're incubating things in the night very efficiently. Bad eggs. This is not just about psychological disturbances, it can cause major physiological problems over a period of time. It's important that you eliminate these things from your life. So, before you go to bed in the night, there are certain things that you need to take care of. It's best if you're eating meat and other kinds of meals, you eat at least 3 to 4 hours before you go to bed. The digestion is over. Before going to bed, drink a certain amount of water and go to bed. You will see it gets taken care of just like this. One simple thing can be just a shower. Always to shower before go to bed, it'll make a lot of difference. In this weather, maybe cold showers are difficult, so you go for lukewarm showers, don't go for hot showers in the night. Go for lukewarm showers, it makes you alert. So you will think, oh, I cannot sleep. It doesn't matter, you will sleep 15-20 minutes or half an hour later, but you will sleep better because it will take away certain things. When you shower, it is not just the dirt on the skin that you're taking away. Have you noticed if you're very tense and anxious, whatever, just a shower, you came out and feels like almost the burden has been taken away from you? Have you not noticed this? So it's not just about washing the skin, a whole lot of things happen when water flows over your body. This shower is a very rudimentary buddhi shuddhi, because over 70% of your body is actually water. If you run water over it, a certain purification happens, which is beyond cleaning the skin. Keep this in your mind, that you are truly a mortal, okay? Not in words, really, you could fall dead right now. You may be young, you may be old, it doesn't matter, you can fall dead right now. Yes or no? Before you go to bed, sit on your bed and think this is your deathbed. You have just 1 more minute to live. Just look back and see, what you have done today, is it worthwhile? Just do this one simple exercise. And you don't know when it really happens, whether you'll be sitting on your deathbed or lying in a hospital, all kinds of things sticking into you. Who knows how it'll happen, but enjoy this every day, that you will sit on your deathbed, look back and see, today, the way I've handled these 24 hours, is it worthwhile? Because now I'm dying. If you do this, you will live a worthwhile life, believe me. So every day in the night, all of you should do this before you go to bed. Last 3 minutes, everything that you have gathered, the body, the content of the mind, things, don't ignore small things, these small things are big things. I've seen how people are carrying their own private pillow, you know, because it's very important. So, your pillow, your footwear, if you have relationships, everything that you have gathered, keep it aside, sleep. If you sleep in that condition, you will wake up with much more light, with much more energy, with much more possibilities than you have imagined possible. Just sleep as life, not as a man, not as a woman, not as this and that. Keep everything down, simply. See, this is getting too easy. Just sleeping sadhana. At least this you must do.
I'm talking about attention, not even about something, just being attentive. In the yogic systems, we have what is called as dashavadanis, shatavadanis. What this means is, a man will do 10 things at the same time. Now, when you don't miss a thing, everybody thinks you're some kind of a superhuman being. We can give you very dynamic processes through which you can scale up your attention to a higher and higher level.
My question is, what means focus to you, and which way can we apply focus in our daily life? So what's your definition of focus?
Okay. There are many ways to describe this word. Instead of saying focus, if you use the word attention, would you agree that attention and focus are about the same thing? There is a little difference. There are nuances to it, but when you say focus, it's just like focusing a light on something means only a focus is always a spot. Attention can be much more widespread. See, right now, if you have clear vision, I'm having problems seeing the young man because you kept him in darkness there in the hall. But if the hall was well lit, I don't have to focus myself to see the people who are sitting here. I just need attention. If I'm attentive, I will see all the people here the way they are. But now I get interested in this one young man, then I need focus. If I had only focus without the general attention about everything around me, indiscriminate attention I'm talking about, attention not even about something, just being attentive only because there is a certain level of attention and awareness within you, you even know that you exist. Otherwise, let's say in sleep, in your experience, neither the world exists nor you exist, all that's happened is there is no attention. Because there is no attention, there is no perception of any kind.